Good day, gentlemen. I used to think of love as a distraction to my goals. Because see, at 18, I started to dream big. I stopped drinking, which made me lose most of my friends because it's so normal to drink back in my home country of Germany. I didn't go to uni, I started a business instead, ended that years later, read hundreds of books, built an athletic body, built superb friendships, built another business, kinda moved country, will move country again next year. And all the while, I've been in a relationship that's lasted for over 7 years already. But I'll be brutally honest with you here. There were multiple points where I almost ended things with her because I thought the relationship was holding me back. Look, as driven men, we hear this message every single day, whether it's from that successful uncle or from movies like Whiplash. Love or success. You gotta choose. I didn't. Because I understood something that most men will never understand in their whole life. But you and me, we don't want to be like most men, do we? Look, I won't make this video any longer than it has to be, so here's the quote. Without such love, one's dreams would have no meaning. Actually, there are multiple lines from this book that I want to talk about throughout this video, but let's start with this one, right? The book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and this first quote perfectly encapsulates everything that I've learned about the relationship between love and success from people like Alex Hormozy or Chris Bumstead or Napoleon Hill or who else? Let me think. David Data, Robert Bly, Nike founder Phil Knight, and a bunch of others, of course. And in this particular instance, the main character in this book, named Santiago, he's on a hunt for his treasure, right? He's following his purpose. And he meets the alchemist, who becomes a mentor, kind of a father figure for him. And the alchemist teaches him this very lesson about love. The alchemist makes him understand and explains that love actually gives purpose, not distractions. And look, I want to address something right away, because yes, there are these insecure, red pill man children on the internet that try so hard to convince themselves and everyone else that women are bad and that women are responsible for them feeling so insecure in their own skin. I know this is harsh, but this is the reality of things. They make these videos telling you that love and women will hold you back, all this stuff, and this might well be their reality. Because at the end of the day, what do you think a person who thinks that all women are cheaters and all women are liars and all women hold you back, how do you think this person shows up when they meet a woman? They treat a woman exactly like that. They treat that woman with that frame of mind. And so they attract the loud minority of equally insecure women who do stuff like this, and they push away the vast majority of women who are not like this. The red pill is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because think about it, why would a woman who genuinely values herself, why would she put up with this bullshit? Why would she put up with a man who is constantly complaining about how difficult the world is and how unfair the world is, how difficult it is to be a man, all this bullshit? The Alchemist makes one thing very clear, which is love is not an obstacle, but actually fuel for one's personal legend, which is the term that he uses for purpose, for goals, right? He makes it clear that these goals actually have a purpose. These goals, have purpose. Because someone gives them that purpose. And here's the thing, the successful men, they figured this stuff out. They talk about this stuff, whether it's Alex Hormozy or Chris Bumstead or this guy called Blake Rocha, aka Mr. 428 on YouTube, right? And Instagram, I think the same thing. He literally made a YouTube video titled, How Love Changed the Life of an 8-Figure Entrepreneur. That's exactly that, boys. And then all these insecure man-children who still sometimes live in their mom's basement, they talk about how bad women are and how love is a distraction, all this bullshit, and focus on yourself. Okay, I want to read the next quote to you here before I get too into this. This basically happens. This quote happens in the book when Santiago, he realizes this lesson, and he doesn't let love hold him back from chasing his goal. And the narrator in the book basically says, he knew that his love for her would enable him to discover every treasure in the world. This is my exact experience. I would not be where I am in life without my girl. I would not be the man that I am today without my girl. And let's be honest, we all know this feeling of loving someone deeply and wanting to just be better. Not just be better, be the best. It is fundamental that you understand this next part, because otherwise you will always continue struggling to combine love and success. Because why do you think that all these depressed millionaires and billionaires exist? Because they only did it for themselves. There's no higher purpose in their work, in their business, in them making this money. Because they only make it for themselves. They only build this business for themselves. There's no higher purpose. They're not serving the world with their business. And then also, they're not doing it for anyone else than themselves. They're not making that money for anyone else than themselves. They probably even lost a good woman on the way. Maybe you've heard of this guy called Chris McCandless, because he put this into words perfectly. Listen up here, boys. If you haven't read the book Into the Wild or watched the movie Into the Wild, then spoiler alert, because these two are basically built around his story, right? This is a real story. This guy, Chris, he's a young guy, American guy, and he's done with society. And so he hitchhikes to Alaska. He actually manages to do that. However, he did it, I don't know. But he manages to do that. And his goal is to just live alone in the Alaskan wilderness. He doesn't want to deal with people. He doesn't want to deal with the society at large, with his parents, all this stuff, right? He had a pretty traumatic childhood growing up. And so he goes there, and he actually survives the first winter, which is an accomplishment. But then, unfortunately, he does tragically find his end. And later on, people find him, and they find his scribblings that he left behind. And one of those scribblings read, "Happiness only real when shared." This is one of the profound realizations he had right before his death. That happiness is only real, only meaningful. Life is only meaningful when you share it with someone else. And even beyond that, the pursuit of a meaningful goal actually makes 99.99999% of relationships better, because it adds polarity to the relationship. It keeps that flame alive where you are in your masculine energy. It also makes you a team working towards this goal together. There's this next quote here from The Alchemist, where he said to Santiago, Fatima, who is this woman that he fell in love with, right? Fatima will be unhappy because she will feel it was she who interrupted your quest. She would be unhappy because she interrupted his quest. How many times have you let your woman interrupt your quest and then she was unhappy? Probably a lot of times, let's be honest here. And then on the other hand, learning to truly love a woman and learning to truly receive her love as a man will make you an infinitely better equipped man for the challenges of business or of sports or whatever field you're in. It will make you infinitely better equipped for that pursuit. I can keep going here. Another example of how love supports our pursuits as men is feminine intuition, what the ancient Romans and ancient Greeks called the oracle, usually a very young and attractive or very old and wise woman who was able to kind of tell the future, right? This is a real thing. This is actually a real thing, and even a friend of mine has talked about this with Alex Hormozy and Sam Ovens, two very big entrepreneurs, right? And how and whether they use this for making decisions, whether they use essentially their wives' feminine intuition to do that, and they do. Alex Hormozy, one of the most rational people on earth, probably knows about feminine intuition, right? And yes, we all have a feminine side, and we can all tap into this, and I'm working on that for myself, tapping into this intuition. But right now, my girl is still far, far, far ahead from me. And that will probably stay the same thing for the rest of my life. And then the fact that my girl loves me regardless of whether I make 8 grand in a day or nothing for weeks helps me get back on track, helps me not doubt myself, helps me stay on track, to be fair. And this is the classic story that Hormozy tells so many times, right? When he lost everything for the second time, when he told his back then still girlfriend, now wife, Layla, like, hey, I'm a sinking ship right now. I'm a fuck up. And I can fully understand if you want to leave, and there's no hard feelings if you leave. You know what she told him? Alex, I would sleep with you under a bridge if it came to it. That's it. That's what gives us that secure foundation from which we can take risks in the world. This primal trust of hers makes me trust myself, quite frankly, and not doubt myself as much, which is something that I've struggled with my whole life. There's another quote I want to read. You must understand that love never keeps a man from pursuing his personal legend. If he abandons that pursuit, it's because it wasn't true love. In clear words, if you abandon your pursuit because of a woman, it's not because you love her, it's because you're obsessed with her. It's this up and down roller coaster of emotions, passionate lovemaking and then passionate fights. That's not love, brother. This was perfectly said in the book Attached, where the author said, actually I made a video about that book recently, about other lines from that book anyway, where they said, still waters run deep. Real love gives you calm, gives you peace of mind. Deep love does that for you. And that's exactly what you need to balance out the often stressful and uncertain and quite certainly frightening moments that we sometimes experience on our pursuit. I'll move over here a bit because the sun has already moved so much. But yeah, this kind of love, it encourages us to pursue our goal. Now I moved a bit too much. Anyway, you get the point. This love encourages us to pursue our goal. It supports us because in order to take risks in this world, we need someone or something to depend on. And what better person is there to depend on than our life partner who we go through life together with? But of course, sometimes there are these moments or chapters in life where love and success are in conflict. Where work or training, if you're an athlete or whatever else, is conflicting with you spending time with your girl. And I recently had a conversation where I understood this much deeper, to be honest, with a past client of mine who became a friend of mine. And he hit me up, he wanted to talk about this topic. We hopped on a Zoom call for like 2.5 hours or something. We really went deep. And I really enjoyed this conversation because we got to the bottom of this and we figured out, okay, love and success, they don't necessarily hold each other back. It's not love and success that hold each other back. What holds these things back from thriving both at the same time is the energy that is needed to lift both of them off the ground. The escape velocity, as Chris Williamson always likes to say, right? Think about an airplane that's about to take off, or a rocket ship or whatever. It takes much more, let's go with an airplane here. It takes much more energy for that airplane to take off the ground and get to his cruising altitude than to keep this cruising altitude, right? He burns much more fuel at the start of the flight versus throughout at the same time period, right? In the same time period. You get the point. It's the same thing here. Getting a business off the ground takes way more, infinitely more energy than sustaining that business, sustaining the growth of that business, right? Building a relationship from scratch and understanding how to love each other, learning how to love each other, learning how to have passion, have this deep excitement for each other, even after the honeymoon phase. That takes much more energy than sustaining that level of love, that level of excitement, that level of getting to know each other deeper and deeper after you've gone through those challenges, after you've learned all this stuff. So when people tell you, or when the media tells you that you should focus on love or success and that you can't combine the two, then please understand that these people might even mean well. They might even think that they're giving you good advice because maybe that advice has helped them to build a thriving marriage or has helped them to build a thriving business or become a pro athlete or whatever else. But it damn sure hasn't helped them to achieve both at the same time. And just understand that they are giving you this advice from their rather limited perspective. It's just their life experience, which is worth something, but it's not worth everything. And just because they weren't able to achieve this, that doesn't mean that you need to follow in their footsteps. And brother, if this video woke you up, if this video showed you that this is possible, but you don't really know what to do to actually get to this point where your pursuit, your goals support your relationship, and your relationship supports your goals, supports your pursuit, makes you succeed in life, then it's your lucky day. Because I made this video here where I explained exactly that, explained exactly how I did it. So go watch that right now. I'll see you over there. Have a great day.